The appeals court was fast, Rebecca. It was just last night that we heard Dan Patrick, the deputy governor, lieutenant governor in Texas, saying we're going to start arresting people immediately.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like that was a response to the Supreme Court. You know, I actually have to dive in, Maria, to the technical legal reasons. The Supreme Court, it wasn't a final decision. It was while the litigation is continuing, we feel that Texas has, they didn't enjoin them or prevent them from starting to enforce it. And now this appeals court has, which, again, to go immediately against the USSC is very alarming, and we have to really understand why. But this is the election right here in a nutshell. This border, this is an invasion, and then on top of this new decision from a district judge yesterday, a district court judge stating about they are allowed to have weapons. You know, if you have 10 million people coming to your country, and now they can have the right to bear arms. Now we've got an armed potential. What else can we call it but an invasion?
Yeah, I mean, what you're referring to is an Obama-appointed Illinois judge ruling that illegal immigrants can own a firearm and carry a firearm. The judge saying that a federal prohibition on illegal migrants owning firearms is unconstitutional when applied to a non-citizen who has never been convicted of a violent crime. This is incredible, Adam. To me, this seems like insanity.
I understand why you say that, but I actually support that, and I'll tell you why. The right to bear arms is the law of the land. It's guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution, the Bill of Rights, as is freedom of speech, as is freedom of religion, as is a right to a fair trial and a jury by your peers. So if you support the Bill of Rights and all of the guarantees that sacred piece of paper ensures for Americans, and you respect it as the law of the land, you have to ensure it for everyone who is on this land. As awkward as that sounds, and I tell you why. If you say, yeah, but things have changed, and so we can't do it for this group right now because this immigration thing's crazy. Well, now you're actually chipping away at the cornerstone of this great country, and you can't do that because of circumstances in the moment.
So breaking into the country illegally is not chipping away at anything. We're talking about illegal.
These are separate issues. There shouldn't be illegals coming in across the border. But once they're here, they are in this land, and there are laws in this land guaranteed by the Bill of Rights, and you have to respect that out of consistency. They shouldn't be here in the first place.
Right.
But that's a separate issue.
Well, it's unfortunately all these issues now are one issue because you've got illegal people from foreign countries coming into this country, some of whom we don't know what their motivations are, what their intentions are, and now they're able to hold a gun. Thomas, your reaction. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Well, you know, I'm sat here like a fool because I came in legally. I think, you know, I should have swam the river and I'd have got a hotel and a credit card and all these things.
That's right.
But, you know, it is crazy. And if you think about the politics of this, who is supporting this? There aren't that many Democrats out there that are really calling for an open border and calling for giving guns to migrants, you know, these things. But the Biden administration are pursuing it so hard. It's a real question. Why are they chasing this so much? It's not popular with anyone. So we're not quite sure why they're after this so desperately.
Well, we have some idea. We have some idea because when the census is done and the census captures all of the people living in a certain region, if there are more people in Democrat-run sanctuary cities, then they'll get more congressional seats. So the congressional Democrats are actually winning on all of this when it comes to the census. Whether or not these people are going to be allowed in some way, shape, or form to vote is another question. But there's a lot of people who expect that is the reason they're doing this.
It's looking very likely, yeah. I didn't want to believe it, but it's looking very likely.
It sure is. This is a developing story this morning. We are just getting started. We're going to be following this breaking news all morning long, so stay right here. Rebecca, he forgot to mention when Jill Biden called the Hispanic community tacos.
Yes, I did see that as well.
You did?
Maria, you know, I think actions over words. Obviously, under Trump's economic policies, we had the lowest, you know, Latino unemployment rates historically ever. And I'm not saying that they have worsened substantially, but what I am saying is this administration is pushing corporations to let go of U.S. citizens' employment, like Tyson Foods, so that they can get $10,000 tax credits to hire illegal migrants. So what is that doing to the Latino community? I mean, and so it's actions, Maria, it's not words.
Look, we can talk about all of these communities and where they are in terms of Trump versus Biden, but this is just more in my view, Adam, this is just more division. Okay, divide us over
divide
everything. Rich versus poor. Homosexual versus heterosexual. Latino versus black versus white. I mean, we all want the same things. Will you stop it?
It's so.
I mean, please, Latinos want exactly what Italians want, exactly what Germans want. We all want prosperity, safety for our families.
Of course.
So just stop it.
Of course. It's so insulting. The fact that they would actually call the campaign Latinos con, which is Spanish for with. Latinos con Biden and Harris. I mean, Thomas, you're a Brit. Maybe you could go create a Brits for Biden, and Rebecca, you're blonde. Blondes for Biden, and I'll be blue blazer guy for Biden. I mean, come on. It's insulting.
It's insulting,
Give me a break.
but it's a way to divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
Thomas, that is what they're doing. Divide and conquer. Put the country against, one side of the country because of this one thing in one group. Like I said, rich versus poor, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. And it was 40 years ago that Reagan said Latinos are Republicans who just don't know it yet. Well, it's looking like now today they are knowing it. 46% of them are saying they're going to vote for Trump. So it is turning. And as you saw, he literally said it. I'm desperate. He said, I need you guys. So they're really struggling there. But look at this. There's 35 people in a Mexican restaurant, and that's a Biden rally. And look at what Trump is pulling in. It's getting embarrassing.
That is funny.
Point.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just another indication of how the administration is worried. Really worried to look at all of these swing state groups, whether it's Latinos, blacks, whites, whatever. They are increasingly going for Trump.
They are, Maria, and I think this administration's policy of intentionally allowing people to come in, I've determined now, I think that I'm putting it all together, even if they don't actually get them to vote in a federal election, because they've been voting in state elections in like Illinois for years, but they do want the urban centers repopulated for the census. You're 100% right on that. So I just think that overall this is an attack against Americans.
Yeah, we did a piece on Sunday Morning Futures looking at the census and how the census changes and congressional districts change depending on what the census number shows. So that's right. They want all citizens to be counted in the census, and that gets more congressional Democrat seats. So yeah, maybe the jig is up. Maybe that's why the border is wide.
Well, and by the way, maybe it's not just counting citizens in the census, but people.
All people.
Population.
People, that's what I meant.
I mean, isn't it just amazing? And you were the one who really shined the spotlight.
Not just legal citizens, all people.
Well, and you, Maria, 2 weeks ago shined the spotlight on what's happening in San Francisco, where the local elections board has actually put a Chinese national who barely speaks English and is not a U.S. citizen on the elections board.
Yes.
What in the world is going on?
Can you
with this
imagine?
country?
Kelly Wong she is now on the federal elections board in San Francisco. They did the whole ceremony in Chinese, Thomas.
Oh my God! To accommodate her.
Yeah, to accommodate her.
I saw it, and I'm a green card now, but I imagine I could walk into a voting booth and I could probably vote. It wouldn't be that hard. You don't need ID, you don't need any of these things, and they're so against putting these rules in. Why won't they allow these things to take place?
AG Merrick Garland said that he's going to vow to fight voter ID. Now, how long did it take you to get the green card in terms of your own process, in terms of becoming a citizen? Tell us about your journey.
So I've been in the US for 4 years. I was very lucky because I'm on a good visa, so it was much easier than it would have been if I'd have come in, on a H-1B or one of these things. But it's complicated and it's expensive. It takes a long time and it's really expensive. And as I say, I should have just swam the river.
Well, you did it the legal way, and now you've got thousands of people jumping ahead of you in line, and they are here.
And it costs a lot of money.
Exactly. We're just getting started. No, actually, they won't, Rebecca, because the appeals decision came on after that. Now, this is just temporary while we understand where this is going, correct?
Yeah, but Maria, it's bizarre, honestly. The Fifth Circuit to come back hours after the Supreme Court said, no, you can go ahead and enforce, and in joining that enforcement again, it's really, I mean, I'd have to look back in case law, but it seems to me unprecedented that you'd have a lower level appeals court, Circuit Court of Appeals, Fifth Circuit, go against what the Supreme Court hours earlier had just majority ruled.
Whose idea is this? I mean, who would allow your country to have absolutely absolutely no borders whatsoever and allow anybody who wants to come in. For a long time, I was thinking that the Obama administration was really running things, telling Biden what to do. But it seems that there is a real rift between Obama and Biden. Maybe that's why, because Obama's pushing Susan Rice and his team to run everything, and Biden maybe is trying to push back. But we know that an Obama-appointed Illinois judge ruled that illegal immigrants can own firearms. The judge said that the federal ban on illegals owning firearms is unconstitutional if applied to a non-citizen who's never been convicted of a violent crime. So you made the case, look, this is the law of our land.
Yes.
You can't say to one person you can have a gun and to another person you can't.
Correct.
It's for people in general. But do you change that opinion at all, Adam, when you take into the fact that we don't know who's coming in? There have been people on the terrorist watch list coming in. Should they be able to hold a firearm?
Yes, because that is enshrined by the Bill of Rights. In the same way that they have a right to free speech, they have a right to walk into any church that they want to and worship as they so choose. If they are arrested, they are entitled to a trial. They are innocent until proven guilty. These are rights enshrined by the Constitution.
Wow.
And we can't change them simply because the political moment has changed and gotten completely out of control. That's a different issue.
Unless your name is Joe Biden. Unless your name is Joe Biden. Because if your name is Joe Biden, you can blow off the Supreme Court who said that forgiving student debt is unconstitutional. You can blow off the border, which is allowing all these illegals to come into the country. So everything you're saying is right, unless your name is Joe Biden.
Unless your name is Joe Biden and you have presidential authority to do as you wish. The good news...
Well, no, he doesn't have the authority to blow off the Supreme Court. That's just not true. He doesn't have the authority to blow off but he is doing it. And I'm wondering who's running things. I want to ask you, Thomas, since you're British, and I want to ask you what you think about what happened the other day. Former President Obama made a surprise visit to 10 Downing Street for an informal meeting, we're told, with UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak. We don't know if it's informal or formal, by the way, but this is a former president meeting with a sitting Prime Minister of the UK. I'm sure they've talked about how they're going to plot to take down Donald Trump, but what is your reaction to this?
Well, I mean, can you imagine if Donald Trump was out there meeting with sitting leaders? There'd be outrage. The media would be going crazy.
Right.
But, you know, this plays into, if there was ever a question of who is really running the show, I think it's very obvious that Obama is behind a lot of these decisions that are being made, leading the administration. And that's why he's out there meeting with world leaders to, you know, relay probably some of the concerns that people have that Trump may be coming back in. You know, people around the world are worrying what's going to happen. But yeah, you know, it is a double standard. If Trump was out doing this, if he was meeting with the French president, if he was
I saw an open letter on Twitter on behalf, dear Mr. Obama, on behalf of the British public, we would like to politely request you F off to whichever sinister evil island you've flown into from your luxury private jet. People in Britain were mad.
No, well, this started when he came over in the middle of the Brexit vote and came over and told the British people how to vote in their country. He said, if you vote for this, you will be the back of the line for a trade deal. And we've seen that. The Biden administration won't even engage with the UK. There's no trade deal on the table. So much for the special relationship. That is long dead.
Wow, that's such a great point. And when Trump came in, Trump said, guess who's going to be first in line for a trade deal? The UK.
Right. Yep, exactly.